Hi, and welcome to the BA Sports Podcast, brought to you by the BA Podcast Network. My name is Adam, and I have Ty with me. We're recording today on July 7th, 2016. Today we're going to be talking a little NBA free agency, some USA basketball, and a little bit of baseball before the All-Star break, amongst a few other things. Today is our first ever podcast.
Yes, it is. Episode 1.
So we're excited to get started and give this a try.
Yep, I think we're aiming for once a week. I think we're aiming for anywhere between a half hour and 45 minutes.
Somewhere in that time frame. You know, every once in a while we might go a little over or whatever, just depending on how the topics line up for us. But
So let's talk about NBA free agency a little bit. You want to start with the big news?
Oh yeah, we got the elephant in the room.
Kevin Durant to the Warriors.
2 years, $54 million for Durant, but he's doing the as I call it, the LeBron deal, where the 1 year and then a player option for a second year, but he's going to opt out, get the big bucks. The cap is going to jump again next year.
Which is crazy because it already jumped
Right.
a bunch this year. So
my question is, when I think about it, whose team is it now? Is it still Steph's team?
obviously, I think it has to be Steph's. I think Steph's been there his whole career. I think Kevin Durant slides into that number 2 role over Green and Thompson, but I still think 100% it is Steph Curry's team.
Another problem that I see happening for them with having 3 guys that shoot the ball with as much volume as they do, there's only about 80 shots in an average NBA game. And, I mean, who's going to take all of them?
I mean, I think Klay Thompson is going to take the biggest hit, obviously. But I don't think he minds. I think he's fine playing defense. I don't think he likes the limelight that much. He always seems like a very quiet guy. So I think Klay Thompson will be taking the big hit. And I also think Steph Curry will be playing less minutes. I mean, we saw how banged up he got playing a full season this year. And
he is much smaller. You know, his body isn't quite able to take the beating that, a LeBron James is able to take.
So I think Steph Curry will play less minutes overall this season and will therefore take less shots. I think KD will stay around his average. What did we say the average was? 19 shots a game over the last 3 years. I think that sounds about right for him.
About 19 shots. And then Steph Curry averaged 18. His big jump was this last year in 2016. He was hitting all those three-pointers. Also, as you said, Klay Thompson going to take that third seat, which is expected, but I don't know if I can say that I think he'll be okay with it. I think Klay has the ability to shine and be a number 1 player if he was on a lesser team.
See, I think his main role is as a second option. I don't think
you think he benefits from playing with Steph Curry?
100%. I think that's his.
So I'd like to see Klay, if he was out on the team on his own somewhere with like a Milwaukee or somewhere like that where Klay Thompson is the guy. I'd like to see what kind of numbers he puts up there because, he's a great shooter. But he also has that ability. I don't know. He plays the defense. I think he could be a number 1 guy somewhere if he wanted to be.
Okay. So what's this mean for the rest of the league?
The rest of the league, obviously, the first team I think of is the Cavs.
Right.
They've been back-to-back in the finals against the Warriors.
Right.
So how is Kevin Durant going to affect, the Cavs and their chance to repeat?
It's obviously going to be a lot harder this year than it was last year.
Yeah. One thing I think that is going to be overlooked is the chemistry aspect of it.
Yeah.
With Kevin Durant being there, they've already had to lose how many players off their bench? Let's see.
Right.
They lost Andrew Bogut, Leandro Barbosa, Harrison Barnes, Festus Ezeli, Brandon Rush. Those are all those guys are playing elsewhere, and they all give them decent minutes off the bench.
Yep.
So that team chemistry, it's going to take a hit. There's no way they're going to match the 73 wins.
You don't think so?
Not even close. I
Wow.
would be surprised.
Bold
65
prediction.
games, somewhere in that range.
Okay. What do you think that means for the West? Do you think they come out on top on the West? Do you think the Spurs can come back with Tim Duncan possibly retiring, but they're replacing him with Paul Gasol? Do you think?
No, the Warriors are still the team to beat in the West.
Okay.
There's no doubt. I don't think their regular season record is going to be as much, and I think they kind of learned this year that their regular season record don't really mean much.
Yeah, that's true.
You win 73 games and you don't finish it off at the end of the year. That 73 games means nothing.
That is true. Very true.
So I think they'll even kind of rest Steph Curry a little bit more than they did this past year. So
yeah, they did go for that record-breaking season.
Right.
So obviously took a lot out of them.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to come anywhere close to the 73 wins.
Okay. What about some other notable free agent signings this offseason?
The other big one, D-Wade, LeBron's buddy, D-Wade going back home to Chicago.
I'm very surprised by that. I thought he was all talk. I thought all the talk with the Nuggets and the Cavs, I thought he was just trying to get some leverage for Pat Riley and was going to sign with the Heat. I thought he was a Heat lifer, but...
I would have liked to see him be a Heat lifer. Like, he's scored twice as many points as any other person in Heat's franchise history.
That's crazy. That's absolutely insane.
And for him to not finish out his career there is kind of sad to me. Like, I think it's kind of sad. But the Bulls' new starting lineup, I'm kind of impressed by it. I kind of like it.
Who we got for their starting lineup?
I mean, right now, the way it's looking right now, they're going to have Rajon Rondo as their starting point guard.
Okay.
He's an assist machine.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to dish it off to D-Wade and Jimmy Butler.
Right.
I mean, both those guys can score the ball with ease for the most part.
You don't think Rajon Rondo's chemistry issues will come into effect? I think Chicago's a little... We've all heard the stories of how iffy their front offices and stuff like that. Do you think he'll cause problems in that locker room?
I would not be surprised. It would not surprise me at all. But I think he's in a good situation here with having Wade and Butler, and then he's kind of that third fiddle. He can score if he wants to score.
Right.
He just never really wants to. It doesn't.
Right. Yeah. He's a pass-first point guard.
And he's even admitted when he left Boston that he just didn't really care about defense towards the end of his time in Boston.
Right.
And so if he can get back to being that defensive point guard and, just dishing the ball to D-Wade and Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're going to overtake the Cavs by any means.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, they might give them a little bit of trouble.
Okay.
Who
else they got? Who else did the Bulls have?
Taj Gibson, and then they got Robin Lopez in the trade.
Okay. Because they did lose both Pau Gasol and Joakim Noah this offseason.
Right, yeah.
Pau Gasol to the Spurs and Joakim Noah went to the Knicks on that huge
$74 million
huge deal for Joakim Noah, which was quite a surprise. But
I mean, everybody's gonna. Timmy Mozgov got $64 million.
That's true. Very true.
With that cap jump, everybody's numbers as far as their salary is spiking.
Right.
But yeah, with Taj Gibson and Robin Lopez, that doesn't scare me at all. Like they're nothing to worry about. But that backcourt that they have in Chicago, it's interesting to me. It'll be fun to see how they come together and if they can gel. Okay,
I have another question. Al Horford to the Celtics. That's really interesting to me because everyone always said about the Hawks is they'd never had a star on their team. But now that Al Horford goes to the Celtics, everyone's raving about how the Celtics finally got their star.
Right.
So I don't think Al Horford's demand to be in Boston. I just don't see him taking over that team and becoming that next great Boston Celtic that they want so bad.
I don't think he'll be great. He's nowhere going to be on the same page as Larry Bird. And
right, obviously,
like
that. Yeah.
But I think it is a good signing for him. For the most part, the Celtics are a pretty young team,
Okay. Yeah, they are.
So
very
Al
young.
Horford, he kind of comes in, brings that veteran leadership. I can't say he's really been there. He's never been to the peak, but he's been to the pretty close to the top of the mountain. They've had some good playoff runs there in Atlanta.
Yep.
So he can help that young team along with a young coach in Brad Stevens.
Yeah, very young coach in Brad Stevens.
Brad Stevens, he's a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
He's done a lot with that Boston team that I've been very surprised.
You can it's basically, you can call it genius worthy. I mean, obviously there's been some hiccups as he's been a young head coach and his rookie head coach. But just some of the lineups he puts out and just how he got that team to come together was nothing short of amazing, really.
I agree. I did not expect anything from Boston, and then there they are in the playoffs, and they've been a lot tougher than I would have thought. Let's move forward here to how this affects us, the Cavs, this offseason. Right. Let's look at the Cavs offseason so far. Lately, we just got Mike Dunleavy from the Bulls.
I like that. A good spacer. He really spaces the floor. Will be a good backup wing to LeBron, and Richard Jefferson is coming back, so it'll be good.
2-year deal from Jefferson. Announced it on Snapchat.
Yep, announced it on Snapchat. RJeff24.
Follow him. If you don't already follow Richard Jefferson on Snapchat, go do it right now.
It's a great follow, but he'll space the floor definitely, add some more three-point shooting, which, I mean, we already have a ton of, but more can't help, especially in this day and age of the three-point league. So,
do you think that with the addition of Dunleavy, that is going to leave J.R. Smith as the odd man out? I mean, I haven't heard much about the talks for J.R. Smith.
I haven't heard much about J.R. either, but I think J.R. is really an important part to this Cavs team. I think that's why we let a fan favorite in Delhi go, and I think we were going to let Maz. I think we were going to let Maz go anyways.
Right.
But I think that's why we let them go, so we could save that money and sign J.R. Smith to the Cavs.
Get J.R. Smith back, yeah. I love J.R. Smith. He's been real fun to watch. He's taking those crazy shots that just don't expect him to make, and they go in. I love watching it. He's a fun player to watch. He brings that little bit of excitement to the team.
You saw how he was at the parade. You and I were both up there in Cleveland for this parade.
Yes, it was absolutely crazy.
But J.R. Smith was having the time of his life, it seemed like. He was shirtless, as I'm sure most of you know. He was shirtless for the entire week after we won the championship. But it seemed like he finally found his home here in Cleveland, cut all the distractions, finally settled down with his wife.
What was his quote? He says that all there is to do in Cleveland is play video games or something like that.
Something along those lines, yes. And it's very true compared to cities like New York or L.A. or Chicago.
Where he's previously been, we got him from New York along with Shumpert.
Right.
As far as, the Cavs and the repeating all that stuff, with the Warriors getting Durant, do we need to make a big move like getting rid of Kevin Love?
I don't think so. I think you got to keep Kevin Love. I think he showed how much more confidence he's gained. I think this championship will definitely get more confidence to him. I think he's finally learning to fit in. I think we saw that with the playoff run. He had a shaky series with Golden State, but who doesn't have a shaky playoff series?
Right, and he had the whole concussion thing,
correct.
And then he came off the bench for the one game. I thought it was kind of fitting. They all talk about Kevin Love and does he fit in? Does he fit in? Well, I thought it was funny that the second that the Cavs started celebrating, who was the first person to hug LeBron James?
Went right to LeBron,
right.
and they had a great hug.
Yes, a great hug is a good way to put it. So I think that Kevin Love fits in just fine. I think he kind of gets a bad rap, coming in being the third string guy, not third string, but the number 3 guy.
We saw this with Chris Bosh in Miami when LeBron went down there with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. We saw the exact same thing. The media gets on Chris Bosh, and
your numbers are going to go down when you're playing with 2 other superstars.
They are.
You can't expect him to put up the 26 and 12 that he did in Minnesota.
Right.
I'm 16 and 10 from your third best player.
Yeah, that's great.
That's pretty good.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And not only that, he has that ability to space the floor, which opens up the lane for Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. So I think Kevin Love, he does a lot of the things that it doesn't show up in the box score. He's almost. I'm not going to say Anderson Varejao because his playing styles are way different, but like Varejao, a lot of the things Varejao did when he was here and when he was the fan favorite, they didn't show up in the box score.
Right.
I think that's
lots of boxing out. You can see how many rebounds does LeBron sky up to get just because he's more athletic, where K-Love's down there boxing out.
Right.
You can see it almost every time down the court. K-Love always has a good box out. If he's not getting the rebound, he's boxing out so one of his teammates can get the rebound. And then we all know about his outlet passes, the beautiful outlet passes to anyone streaking down the floor, really, mostly LeBron James. But
and we talk about, in the finals when we won, down in crunch time, there's the block from LeBron, which is the most insane thing I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever yelled that loud in my life when I saw that happen. And then there was the shot by Kyrie.
Yep.
And everybody gives Kevin Love crap about his defense, but the defense on Steph Curry
locked down the 2-time MVP point guard. Locked him down at 3-point line.
I think LeBron mentioned something about it, and it was the parade or something like that.
Yeah, not the D, as who was it? The GM said, not the D. It would be known as the stop from now on. The stop.
And I think that needs to get a little bit more credit. It's nowhere as exciting as the block. It's nowhere as exciting as the shot. Right. But it's every bit as important.
Right. And how about that missed dunk by LeBron, by the way?
Oh my gosh.
If he hits that, does that go down as one of the best dunks of all time?
We would be seeing that in highlights for years. For years. It was so crazy, and I was just glad. He got up and was able to come back, shoot the free throws.
After he hurt his wrist,
He was sitting there laying on the floor, and I just kept thinking, it's not supposed to end like this. It's not supposed to end like this. It's going to be it.
Right.
Another thing, we're talking about Kyrie Irving.
Yep.
He's got an interesting offseason ahead of him.
Yes.
Not only is he the NBA champion, but he's going after a gold medal as well.
Yes, out in Rio, where lots of controversy for those Olympics, but lots of superstars definitely calling this Olympics off. I think the only returning gold medalist is Carmelo Anthony, and he's going for the record of, I believe it's 4 gold medals. So he's really the main guy coming back. I think he's the only Olympian.
He's the vet.
And while all these guys have played in FIBA World Championships, such as Kyrie, who won the FIBA MVP in 2014, there's still that certain thing about the Olympics that's there. You need that experience. So it'll be interesting to see this roster. How do you see this roster playing out?
I see this roster. It's pretty interesting. You look, they don't have a ton of big men. They got DeAndre Jordan, they got Draymond Green, and they got Cousins. But
let's go ahead and name off this roster first for everyone who doesn't know.
All right, so we'll start with Carmelo Anthony. He's a New York Knick. It goes down to Harrison Barnes, Jimmy Butler,
the new Dallas Maverick.
Harrison
Barnes, by the way.
Jimmy Butler, his new teammate is Dwayne Wade. DeMarcus Cousins, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant, the new Warrior.
Kevin Durant.
Paul George, Draymond Green, Kyrie, DeAndre Jordan, Kyle Lowry, and Klay Thompson.
Okay, and coached by, I think this is Coach K's last international competition, isn't it?
Which it makes me ask, do you think that's the main reason why Kyrie decided not to skip this year? Give another chance to play for Coach K?
I think Kyrie wants to win. I think he
wants to add that gold medal.
I think he is very good in international play. I think just the shortened 3-point line, just how I think he's made for international play. So I think that's why he wants to play. He wants to show the world. It's another great stage for him to build up his brand and everything again. And
I mean, it can't get a whole lot bigger than making the game-winning 3 in the NBA Finals.
Game 7 in the NBA Finals, yeah.
Right, but if you're going to do it, why not internationally in the Olympics?
Right, another great stage. So what do you think the starting lineup is out of those players?
Starting lineup, let's
see. Here, I'll give you mine to start out. I think it's going to be Kyrie Irving at the point. I think he beats out Kyle Lowry just because of his international experience and the Coach K connection. Obviously, I think you can't ignore that Duke connection.
And he's just flat out a better point guard, in my opinion. But
me too. But our unbiased opinions.
Yeah.
But I think Klay Thompson starts at the 2. I think Kevin Durant at the 3. And then I think they go Carmelo at the 4. I think Carmelo is in this starting lineup. I don't think...
I could see it just with his veteran experience.
Just with his experience. I think Carmelo's at the 4. And plus, he's a great small ball 4. He really is. And then I'm not sure if you go Boogie Cousins or DeAndre Jordan for the defense. Because we have so much offense on the floor already. I think you might go DeAndre Jordan just for the defense and rebounding, in all honesty.
I could see it. That makes a lot of sense to me. I agree with you on the point guard. You gotta go Kyrie. As far as the 2 guard, I think it's tough. Klay Thompson or Jimmy Butler, man. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough choice.
Jimmy Butler is also a great choice. I mean, all these players are great choices. There's not a single bad player in the bunch.
Absolutely. But so, I mean, you really can't go wrong with any starting lineup. Let's just for fun, I would say Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler, and then I'll give you the KD and the Carmelo.
Okay.
And then I'll agree with you on the DeAndre Jordan for the defense and the rebounding.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, we got pretty similar.
So we're pretty close. So you're just substituting Jimmy Butler for Klay Thompson.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Do you think this team takes gold?
I don't see why not.
Neither do I.
I mean... it begs the question, we got all these guys, and we don't even have, like, the LeBrons and all this.
Right, yeah.
The Steph Curry.
The Steph Curry, the LeBron, yep.
Do you think that they should allow professionals in the Olympics, or should it just be for the amateurs?
I mean, I go back and forth on this. I think you should allow it. I can't tell you why. I think it just makes for more entertaining. I guess if you want to protect the integrity of the Olympics, maybe you should go amateurs. But I don't think many amateurs will go. I think
basketball is a very global game. By far, out of the 3 main professional sports in football, baseball, and basketball, I mean baseball too, but basketball very European. A lot of European players come into the NBA. So I mean, you can't just say it's unfair and America's going to dominate because there are a lot of other NBA players from other countries.
Right.
We got Tristan Thompson playing up in Canada.
Yep.
So Dele down in Australia.
Yep. Ben Simmons coming in, the number 1 overall pick this year, is going to be playing for Australia.
Okay, wow.
So lots of talent coming in from around the globe, but I don't think amateurs will play much. I think the risk of injury when they can get these huge NBA contracts is too great for them to go play for a goal. I think some players would, but
even with the Zika virus and everything going on too, why risk it?
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
When you're like LeBron James and you've been in the league for a while and you've got your gold medals and you got your rings. Spend time with the family.
Right. Take it off season off, especially if you're LeBron.
Right. You've been there. You've done it. Let some of these other guys get their chance.
Right. I agree with that.
Here's a little fun one. Going back to the roster, you look on here. Harrison Barnes, who's now a Maverick but was a Warrior.
Yep.
Then you got Kevin Durant, who's now a Warrior.
Yep.
Draymond Green, who's clearly a Warrior. And Klay Thompson. That's 4 Warriors.
Lots of Warriors on this team, aren't there?
Yeah, and only 1 Cav.
1 Cav, yep.
And you think Kyrie's going to rub it in their face a little bit?
I mean, you got to. I think you have to if you're Kyrie. I think maybe not so much. I think just subtle little jabs here and there in the locker room during the practice. Yeah. But
and a lot of these guys, they can dish it out to each other because they've been friends. They've been growing up.
They've been playing
against each other
AAU ball since they were in high school.
Right.
They all know each other. It's not like they're enemies out there. They're all friends.
So the training for the Olympics starts July 18th. They'll be out in Vegas.
Okay.
The first game, as of now, is scheduled for against China to be August 6th.
Okay, is that the first exhibition game or the first Olympic game?
It's the first Olympic game.
Okay.
Yep. And China, I was trying to look up their roster.
Yeah.
You know, I see that they got 2 guys with their rights being in the NBA. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these names.
Wang Zilline, maybe? I probably butchered that. He plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's a big man. And then Zhu Qi, Houston Rockets, another big man. So not very much NBA talent on this team, but...
So it shouldn't be much of a challenge.
Right.
It should not
Let's
be
hope,
much of a challenge.
We'll see how it turns out. But like you said, I think this will be another easy USA gold. I don't want to say easy because you never know, but this won't be anything like that 2004 Olympic squad where they...
Yeah, and this is nothing even close to the Dream Team back.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
Jordan and all them.
Or even the Redeem Team, anything like that. So we'll see how it plays out, but it'll be interesting. I love international ball, so it'll be good to watch.
It should be a lot of fun.
All right, so what else do we got coming up in the Cleveland area?
Cleveland area, we got Frankie Lindor making his first All-Star game along with Danny Salazar.
Okay.
And then just today, I think it was, Corey Kluber was named a replacement. So we got 3 Indians players
All-Stars
going to the All-Star game. Wow. And I think it's for the first time since 2007, if I remember.
Was that with the Grady Sizemore, Victor Martinez? Was that team?
Sabathia, yeah.
All right.
Yep. So the first time, in a while that we've had 3 All-Stars, and I think all very well deserved. If you look at the numbers this year, Corey Kluber, if you look at his win-loss record, is not great, 8-8.
That jumped out to me when we were talking about this earlier. I noticed his win-loss, and I was like, man, he doesn't seem to be doing too hot. But
right, and then you look down the line, he's got 114 strikeouts, only 27 walks.
Wow.
I mean, he's got that 3.79 ERA, which is the highest in the starting rotation out of the Indians. But that's not saying much because the Indian starting rotation this year is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it looks great.
Absolutely, and it's unbelievable. The best pitching staff that I can think of, and I'm only 25. I've been watching baseball. I still do. I remember the 95 World Series slightly. I remember the 97 World Series a lot more, but for the wrong reasons, unfortunately. But I do remember watching those at 6 years old or whatever. And I remember, Omar Vizquel is my favorite player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Frankie Lindor has a chance to pass him, honestly. Like, right now, he's only, low 21 years old. And
he's great, yeah.
The dude is a beast.
When me and Adam and I went up to a Indians game a couple weeks ago, and Frankie Lindor was all over the field. He looked amazing from what I saw.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun to watch. He's already he's batting about 300 this year. He's got 10 home runs. He's just an absolute. He does it all. He's a 5-tool player.
Okay.
I mean, then you just look at the rest of this roster. One thing that's been missing from this Indians team or these Indians teams of the past is the lack of a power hitter. Like, we don't have a whole lot of home runs.
Right.
Last season, I think Carlos Santana led the team with 19 home runs.
Okay.
This year, he's already matched it, and it's not even an All-Star break yet. He's already back to 19. And then we had Brantley at 18 last year, and then Brandon Moss with 15. So we didn't have a whole lot of home runs.
Not a lot of bats in there.
This year, we got Santana with 19. Napoli's came in. He's been a huge signing for us. He's hit 17 of them out of the park. A lot of strikeouts from Napoli, but he's admitted that every time he steps up to the plate, he's going for a home run.
Okay.
He didn't give the politically correct statement of going, no, I just try to put the ball in play, blah, blah, blah. No, he was honest. He said, I'm going up there and I'm trying to hit the ball out of the park.
Right.
Kipnis and Lindor both in double digits home runs.
Okay.
So it's
lots of good hitting from the Indians coming this year.
Right.
Sounds like
Finally. And then not only home runs, but we're getting those extra base hits. We got 8 players with 10 or more doubles.
Wow.
Led by Jose
That's
Ramirez.
impressive. Yeah.
21 doubles already at the All-Star break. That's come on.
So what's up with Brantley? I haven't heard much about him. I don't follow baseball that much. I don't claim to be a big person in the baseball, but I do know Brantley. Where's he been? I haven't seen him.
Brantley, he's been out all year, or pretty much all year.
Okay.
He's only been in, I think, 11 games this year due to his he's had a shoulder problem.
Okay.
And he's on the verge of being back. He just was seen taking batting practice before the game the other day against the Tigers. He's right there. He's almost ready to come back.
Where do you see him coming back at?
Man,
because I heard that I know Tyler Naquin is a rookie.
Right.
He seemed pretty good so far. I mean, from what I've seen, he seems good. 5
triples from Naquin. He's batting, I think, somewhere around 320 if I remember right.
Wow, that's good.
I mean, he's not playing every day, but he's playing most of the days. Our outfield, which was kind of looked at as a weakness, especially with Brantley being out.
Right.
You know, we went out and we added Rajai Davis, who he's been huge for us, batting .275. He's given us I think he's at 9 home runs, leads the AL in stolen bases. So he's been a big signing for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Naquin, he's been a surprise. You know, he was named the opening day roster, which, you know, they made a big deal out of that. When he found out the news that he was on the team. It was pretty emotional for him. It was awesome to watch.
Awesome. Yeah.
And, I mean, he's showed us that he's earned it. He comes up and he's batting like .320. He's got 5 triples, 7 home runs. You know, he's making plays, and he's shown that he belongs here. So as far as where he's going to fit in the outfield, you know, we got in the right field area. It's kind of a platoon role with Chisenhall and Jose Ramirez and all them.
Okay.
Ramirez, I mean, I don't know how you send him to the bench. Ramirez is batting .300, 4 homers, 32 ribbies, 21 doubles, 10 stolen bases. Like, how do you take that out of the lineup?
You can't take that out, it seems like.
So, I mean, that means Chisenhall or Ramirez. But the good thing about Ramirez is he can play that utility role. There's really not a position besides pitcher and catcher, probably first base, that he can't play.
Okay.
He plays second base. He plays
That's
shortstop.
good. Yeah,
he plays
he can
third
definitely
base.
find a spot.
He can play the
yeah.
outfield. So, I mean, whenever anybody needs a day off, you can plug Jose Ramirez in there, and you're not going to miss a beat. But Chisenhall's also had a pretty good year so far. He's batting nearly .300. He's at .298. He's got 5 homers, 22 RBIs. He's hit some doubles, you know. So he's another one I hate to kind of see go to the bench when he's kind of finding his stride.
Right.
But you got to put him on the bench.
Yeah,
for Michael Brantley.
Someone's going to have to sit.
Right, Michael
don't
Brantley.
Know who yet. Yeah.
Last year finished 3rd in the AL MVP race.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had .310, 18 homers, 84 RBIs, 45 doubles. He walked 60 times and only struck out 51.
Wow, that's great.
So, he's an everyday player. He's an all-star. He's a potential MVP.
Mm-hmm.
So when he comes back, he's only going to add that much more to the first-place Indians.
Right.
The first place. Right, they're in first place over the Tigers and the Kansas City Royals, who have been in the last 2 World Series.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a fun time to be a Cleveland fan right now. Absolutely.
Except for those Browns, but we won't talk about those.
Yeah, that's for another day. That's for another day. We're also, you know, with All-Star break coming up, we'll just kind of take a quick look around. I noticed Bleacher Report put out a power ranking.
Okay.
These records I have here are kind of outdated. But just to give you the quick rundown, they have the Tigers at 10, St. Louis Cardinals at 8, Baltimore Orioles at 8. I mean, Cardinals were 9.
Okay.
New York Mets were 7, Dodgers at 6, Nationals 5, Cubs 4, Texas Rangers 3, San Francisco Giants, who win the World Series every other year, number 2, and then our Cleveland Indians at number 1. And the one thing that stood out to me, when you look at all 10 of those teams, the only other team to have a payroll anywhere close to the Indians is the New York Mets. The New York Mets have about $100 million in payroll. They're at $99.6 million.
Yeah.
Indians are $83.7 million.
And you look at the rest of those teams,
everybody else is mostly about $150+ million.
Right.
And so the Indians are sitting here kicking everybody's butt on about half the payroll of everybody else.
Sort of the opposite of the Cavs, who are way over the cap and playing tons of luxury tax. But you got the Indians, who are on a really, really low payroll this year, which is amazing.
But, I mean, it's the same thing every year with the Indians. They don't pay out their players. I mean, But what's beautiful is we have our core players locked up for the long term. I think it was either last year or the year before, we locked up Brantley. We locked up Kipnis. You know, we locked up Jan Gomes and all of our pitching. We got Kluber and Salazar and all those guys where they're locked in. They're Indians for the next couple of years. And so we're only going to continue to grow as a team and get better.
Right.
And so it's kind of fun to watch this team kind of hit their stride now. Last year they were predicted to win the World Series by Sports Illustrated.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, maybe they were just a year early on that, I guess. Let's see. Let's see if the curse really is broken. And let's see what the Indians can do here.
Okay. What else we got going on in sports? Do we got more in baseball? Is there much more?
I got a little story here that I found to just be entertaining.
Okay, let's hear it.
I was coming across. I was reading some stuff on the internet, and I saw that the former quarterback of the school up north, who's currently a running back for the Jaguars, Denard Robinson, was found asleep at the wheel of his car that was sinking into a pond.
Wow. Huh.
According to the Florida Times-Union, which I got this off ProFootballTalk.com, Robinson was asleep behind the wheel of his car. Police were responding to calls about a car that crashed into a pond early on Sunday morning, and this is right after the 4th of July.
Okay.
So this is on July 5th. Neither Robinson nor his passenger were injured, thankfully.
Right.
2 officers screened Robinson, ruled he did not seem to be intoxicated.
Really?
Right. That's the first thing you think of, you know.
Huh.
But the responding officer says that Robinson woke up and then went back to sleep after they knocked on the window. But after that, he fell right back asleep. Went right back into his slumber before they eventually got him up. The report adds that both Robinson and his passenger were reluctant to get out of the car, even though it was sinking. It was sinking in the pond, and they just were like, "No, I'm good. I'm going to stay here."
So you're telling me that neither of them were intoxicated?
According to the report. I mean,
That's
we don't know.
very interesting, if you ask me.
Right.
I would imagine maybe not alcohol, but some type of substance may have been involved.
Right. That might have made you a little sleepy or something.
May have been swept on the rug there, but who knows?
Well, we'll take Robinson for his word.
Yep.
It was July 4th. He was probably out late watching fireworks, because that's what you do. At least he came back with all 10 fingers.
That's correct. Shout out Jason Pierre-Paul.
Yeah. Robinson later said in his statement, "I just wanted to let everyone know I was involved in a single car accident on Saturday night, and thankfully everyone was safe and remained unharmed. I thank God every single day for the opportunities He has presented me, and I am grateful every morning to wake up healthy. I should not have been driving that late or when I was that tired. Tired. But again, I'm just glad everyone was safe. God bless."
Okay. I mean, I don't want to accuse him of something he doesn't do, because maybe he was just tired, but that seems very fishy. Fishy pond. Pardon the pun.
I see what you did there.
But that seems very interesting to me that both you and your passenger would be sinking into a pond while in a car.
The part that gets me is like the cop knocks, goes, "Hey, you need to get out, and your car's sinking." And he's like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah, exactly.
I need to rest my eyes for a minute.
I mean, I guess when you're tired, you do stuff that I've been pretty tired before, and I guess I've done that stuff before. But
no, I think you're sinking into a pond.
I think that's on another level, in all honesty.
Yeah. So I read that story, and I was just like, man, how can this happen?
Right.
I thought it was funny.
That is pretty crazy. Well, I think that's about it we have for this week. Can you think of anything else you want to throw in there?
First of all, if you guys are listening, I just want to say thank you and stick with us. This is our first one.
Yeah. We had some technical difficulties. Took us about 5 hours to get set up from our planned start time. Thankfully, we had Adam's brother Eric here.
Yeah, shout out to Eric at the production level.
Helping us out and working everything out. We're only using one mic today, but hopefully next week we'll get some more equipment or figure out some of these programs so we can get our own little setup going where we can each have our own mic. That might be a little bit more helpful. But again, if you're listening, thank you so much. Spread the word if you want to. If you don't, that's fine.
Stick with us. And like we said earlier, this is our first one. We're going right now with the name of the BA Sports Podcast.
That is subject to change, by the way. We just have not found a name we fell in love with yet. But we will be putting this on SoundCloud, YouTube. The BA podcast we'll have a Facebook that you can go to.
And we'll probably be plastering it over our own personal Facebooks too.
Yep, for sure. So, again, if you're interested in this, share. That'd be great. If not, thanks for listening to our first podcast. We're hoping you listen next week. All right. Thank you very much.